Welcome back to the channel. If you're in the United States and have a passion for history, collecting, or discovering hidden treasures, this video is made just for you. Today, we're exploring the fascinating world of Lincoln pennies, one of America's most iconic and collectible coins. These classic pennies have been a part of U.S. history for more than a century, and what many people don't realize is that some of them are worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars today. You could have one of these valuable Lincoln pennies sitting right in your change, tucked away in a drawer, or saved from years ago without even knowing it. That's why you need to watch this video until the very end. I'll walk you through the key dates, mint marks, and details that make certain Lincoln pennies so valuable. So don't go anywhere, stay with me, because you might just discover a small coin that holds a big surprise. And before we get started, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on all notifications, so you never miss another video about rare and valuable U.S. coins that every American collector should know about. Let's get started. First up, the 1959 Lincoln penny with no mint mark might look like just another penny in your pocket, but it's one of those coins that reminds us why you should never overlook small change. What appears to be an ordinary coin could actually be worth a surprising amount of money, and it's a coin that holds an important place in American history. The 1959 Lincoln penny marks the beginning of a new era, the first year of the Lincoln Memorial reverse, and some examples of this coin have sold for thousands of dollars at auction. Now, make sure you stay with me through this entire video, because I'll explain exactly what makes the 1959 no mint mark penny valuable, which features to look for, what kinds of errors can make it worth a fortune, and how some of these coins have reached unbelievable prices in the collector market. By the end of this video, you'll know why every American should check their old change, because this penny is a true hidden treasure. Let's start with what makes this coin special. Before 1959, Lincoln pennies featured the wheat ears reverse, a design that had been used since 1909. But in 1959, to celebrate Abraham Lincoln's 150th birthday, the United States Mint introduced a brand new design, the Lincoln Memorial on the back. That change marked a major milestone in U.S. coinage history. The obverse still carried Victor David Brenner's famous portrait of Lincoln, but the new reverse designed by Frank Gasparo featured the Lincoln Memorial in stunning detail. If you look closely on a 1959 penny, you could even see the tiny statue of Lincoln seated inside the memorial, a detail that fascinates collectors to this day. Now, the 1959 Lincoln penny without a mint mark was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, which didn't use mint marks on pennies at that time. More than 600 million of these were struck, but not all of them were identical. Some have subtle die differences, small striking errors, and unique color variations that make them much more desirable to collectors. Each 1959 penny was made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, weighing 3.11 grams. These older copper coins have a rich color and heavy feel compared to modern zinc pennies. But what really determines value isn't just the metal, it's the condition, color, and rarity. Collectors pay close attention to color categories: brown BN, red brown RB, and red RD. The redder the coin, the higher its potential value. That bright copper shine from the mint fades over time, so finding one that still has its original color is rare. Uncirculated 1959 pennies with full red luster can bring $10, $20, or more, and the top-rated examples have brought incredible prices. In fact, the highest recorded auction price for a 1959 Lincoln penny with no mint mark is an astonishing $5,887, achieved for a mint state 67 plus red example. That's right, nearly $6,000 for a single penny struck in Philadelphia. That record-setting coin had flawless surfaces, brilliant red color, and razor-sharp strike details. A true gem that serious collectors were willing to pay big money for. But that's not the only headline. A 1959 D penny from the Denver Mint once sold for an even higher price, a staggering $48,300 at auction, proving how much collectors value pristine or unusual examples from this year. Those are life-changing numbers for a coin most people would never think twice about. Now, what can make your 1959 no mint mark penny valuable? First, condition matters more than anything. Coins that still have full luster, with no scratches, dulling, or spots, are worth much more than worn pieces. Look carefully at Lincoln's hair and face, the lines on the coat, and the details inside the Lincoln Memorial. The sharper and cleaner those features are, the better. Second, look for errors and die varieties. Some 1959 pennies were struck slightly off-center. Some have double die obverse, and others have die cracks that run across the coin. These errors happen when dies are damaged or misaligned during production, and collectors absolutely love them because no two are alike. A 1959 penny with a clear double date or letters could be worth hundreds of dollars, depending on the clarity and condition. There's also a fascinating mystery in the coin world, the story of the 1959 D wheat reverse penny. This coin supposedly features the older wheat design on the back instead of the new memorial. It's so rare that only one is known to exist, and its authenticity has been debated for decades. Whether real or not, that story made collectors examine every 1959 penny more closely than ever before, and it keeps the excitement alive in the hobby. Another factor is color designation. A bright red coin from 1959 that's been preserved perfectly for over 60 years is not common. That's why the top-rated examples, the ones certified as MS67 red or better, are the ones that reach auction records. Think about it. Out of hundreds of millions struck, only a handful have survived in near-perfect condition. That's what makes them valuable. It's also worth noting that copper reacts over time with air and humidity, causing most coins to darken or tone unevenly. That's why coins stored in sealed, stable environments for decades are worth so much more today. When you find a brilliant red example, you're looking at a survivor, a coin that somehow escaped time and circulation. Even though most 1959 pennies, with no mint mark, might only be worth a few cents, the potential upside keeps collectors searching. There's always the possibility that one coin in a roll, or one penny in a jar, could turn out to be a high-grade gem or an error piece worth serious money. It's that thrill of discovery that makes collecting so exciting for people all across the United States. And it's not just about money, it's about history. The 1959 Lincoln penny represents change, progress, and a connection to one of America's greatest presidents. It's a coin that Americans grew up with, that circulated for generations, and that reminds us how even the smallest objects can carry stories from the past. So, if you find a 1959 penny with no mint mark, don't just spend it. Take a close look. Check the date, look for doubling in the letters, examine the memorial steps, and pay attention to the color. If it still shines bright, if the details are crisp, and if it looks like it just left the mint, it could be worth more than you'd ever expect. The record auction price of $5,887 proves just how much collectors are willing to pay for a top-quality coin. And even though that's an exceptional example, it shows what's possible. For every high-grade coin that sells at auction, there are hundreds more sitting in drawers, jars, and collections across America just waiting to be discovered. In the world of coin collecting, knowledge is everything. Knowing what to look for can turn a simple find into a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. The 1959 Lincoln penny, with no mint mark, is a perfect example of that. It's not just old. It's valuable, it's historic, and it's one of the most fascinating coins in modern American history. So keep your eyes open, check your change, and don't overlook the pennies. Because sometimes, the smallest coin can have the biggest story. And in this case, the 1959 Lincoln penny might just be the most valuable penny you'll ever hold. Next up, the 1974 Lincoln penny, with no mint mark, might seem like an ordinary coin that millions of Americans have handled every day. But what most people don't realize is that some of these simple copper cents have become truly valuable collectibles. Even though they were struck in massive quantities, a few rare examples of the 1974 penny have sold for thousands of dollars at major auctions, proving that sometimes the smallest coins can carry the biggest surprises. Now, let's take a closer look at why this coin has become so fascinating among U.S. collectors. The 1974 penny was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, and coins from this mint traditionally do not carry a mint mark. So, if you look under the date and don't see a D or S, that means your penny came from Philadelphia. It's made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, weighing about 3.11 grams, just like most pennies before 1982. On the obverse, we see the familiar portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. On the reverse is the Lincoln Memorial, symbolizing unity and strength, a design used from 1959 until 2008. But what makes the 1974 penny interesting is not just its design or composition. It's the timing. The early 1970s were a turbulent period for U.S. coinage. The price of copper was climbing, and the U.S. Mint began experimenting with cheaper materials. In fact, 1974 became famous for the creation of a few rare aluminum pennies. These experimental coins were never supposed to leave the mint, yet a few did, creating one of the biggest stories in coin collecting. One of these rare 1974 aluminum pennies was once valued at over $250,000, though it's a separate variety from the regular copper coin we're discussing today. Still, it adds incredible historical depth to the year 1974, making every penny from that year more intriguing. Now, let's talk about the 1974 Lincoln penny with no mint mark and what gives it value. Most 1974 pennies are common, but collectors look for coins in extraordinary condition, those that have never been used, never circulated, and have retained their original red copper shine. Coins like these are known as mint state red examples. Over the decades, only a small percentage of these pennies have survived in such pristine condition. When a coin remains perfectly preserved, it can reach very high grades on the numismatic scale, known as the Sheldon scale, which runs from 1 to 70. A 1974 no mint mark penny that scores MS 67 or higher is extremely rare. That's where the big money comes in. In fact, one 1974 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, rated MS 67 plus red, once sold at auction for an incredible $2,938. That's nearly $3,000 for a single 1-cent coin, an unbelievable price that captured the attention of collectors all over the United States. Another similar high-grade red example sold for $2,585, proving that these exceptional coins consistently attract strong bidding when they appear at auction. These prices demonstrate that the 1974 penny is not just another old coin. It's a collectible treasure when found in the right condition. But what exactly should you look for if you think you might have a valuable one? Let's go step by step. Start with condition. If your coin still has a bright, copper red shine, sharp details, and no scratches or spots, that's a great sign. The more original luster the coin retains, the higher its potential value. Look closely at Lincoln's hair, his beard, and the fine lines of his jacket. A strong, bold strike is key. On the reverse side, check the Lincoln Memorial. The lines on the steps should be crisp and clearly defined. Next, look for color and toning. Lincoln pennies are graded not just by wear but by their color categories: brown BN, red-brown RB, and red RD. A fully red coin, one that looks like it just left the mint, is by far the most valuable. The 1974 pennies that brought thousands at auction were both bright red examples. You should also keep an eye out for errors and varieties. The 1974 penny is known to have some examples with double dies, where parts of the design, like the date or letters, appear slightly doubled. Even a minor double die can add significant value, especially when found on a high-grade coin. Some coins also show die cracks, off-center strikes, or misaligned dies, which make them unique and collectible. Collectors love these error coins because they combine rarity with curiosity. Each one tells a small story of what went wrong during production. The 1974 penny story is also deeply connected to the mint's shift in materials. Because copper prices were rising, the mint was already planning to change to a cheaper metal. That change officially happened in 1982, when the penny's composition switched from mostly copper to mostly zinc. This makes the 1974 copper penny part of the final generation of true copper cents, another reason collectors value them so highly. Over time, the 1974 penny has proven to be one of those coins that almost everyone in the U.S. has touched, yet very few have recognized for its hidden worth. Millions of people have spent or saved these pennies without realizing that one of them could sell for more than $2,900 in pristine condition. That's why you should always check your change, your old jars of coins, or those coffee cans full of pennies that have been sitting around for years. You never know. You might find a 1974 no mint mark Lincoln penny that's still bright, uncirculated, and valuable. Imagine discovering a coin that looks almost new, bringing it to a coin show or auction, and learning that it's worth thousands. Stories like that are what keep collectors searching. And it's not just about the money. It's about finding a piece of American history that connects you directly to the past. The 1974 Lincoln penny with no mint mark reminds us that every coin has a story. From its simple copper surface to the hidden potential that lies beneath, this penny is more than pocket change. It's a reminder of how small details can turn into big discoveries. Even though billions were made, only a few have survived in such perfect shape. That's why collectors treasure them, and why auction results have proven their lasting appeal. With top examples selling for around $2,938, the 1974 no mint mark Lincoln penny continues to attract attention from coin lovers nationwide. So the next time you're sorting through your change, take a closer look at those old pennies. Because that little 1974 coin, the one with no mint mark, might just be your unexpected treasure. The history, the rarity, and the value are all there, waiting to be discovered by someone who takes the time to notice the details. Remember, not all valuable coins are silver or gold. Sometimes, the most valuable ones are made of copper. And the 1974 Lincoln penny with no mint mark is one of those rare and special examples that prove even the smallest coin can carry a big story and an even bigger reward. Next up, the 1976 Lincoln penny with the D mint mark is one of those small coins that millions of Americans have held in their hands. Yet very few realize that some of these pennies are actually worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars today. At first glance, it may look like an ordinary 1-cent piece, but hidden among these coins are few examples so well preserved that they've brought incredible prices at auction. One of the highest auction records for a 1976 D Lincoln penny reached $7,931, proving that even a humble copper cent from the 1970s can turn into a collector's dream. Let's explore exactly why this coin has become so interesting to collectors, what gives it value, and how you can identify a potentially valuable one yourself. The 1976 Lincoln penny was struck at 3 different U.S. mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Denver mint used a small D mint mark beneath the date, and that's the version we're talking about today. These coins were struck in massive numbers. More than 4.2 billion were produced, but not all survived in perfect condition. Each 1976 D penny is made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, weighing about 3.11 grams. On the obverse, we see the classic portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, who first created the design in 1909 to mark the centennial of Lincoln's birth. The reverse features the Lincoln Memorial, introduced in 1959 and used until 2008. While billions were made, the reality is that only a tiny fraction of these coins remain in mint state condition, with their original copper red color, sharp details, and no marks or spots. Those are the coins collectors are after. Color and condition are everything in the world of Lincoln cents. Collectors classify them into 3 main color designations: brown BN, red-brown RB, and red RD. The red coins, which still glow with that bright copper brilliance straight from the mint, are by far the most desirable. When a 1976 D penny survives in full red color and high mint state grade, its value can increase dramatically. In fact, one such example, a 1976 D Lincoln penny graded MS67 plus red, holds the record auction price of $7,931. That's nearly $8,000 for a 1-cent coin, and it remains one of the most stunning results ever achieved for a coin that the average person could have easily overlooked in their change. These record prices highlight how powerful condition and rarity can be in numismatics. While the coin itself is not rare in the sense of low mintage, its condition rarity, meaning how few examples have survived in perfect form, is what drives collector demand and auction results. To understand the value of your own 1976 D penny, you'll need to look closely at its details. Start by examining Lincoln's portrait. The highest points of the design, his cheek, jawline, and hair, are where first appears. A truly uncirculated coin will still have a full, satiny luster, and no dullness on those areas. Then, look at the reverse side, the Lincoln Memorial. A well-struck coin will show clean, sharp lines on the building, clear steps at the base, and well-defined lettering in E pluribus unum. If the coin shows even minor flattening, scratches, or discoloration, it's been circulated and will likely only be worth face value. But if it appears flawless, bright, and crisp, it could be one of the few that stand out. Collectors also pay attention to strike quality, how sharply the coin's design was struck into the metal. Denver Mint coins from this period sometimes show slightly weaker strikes compared to Philadelphia coins, making a fully detailed 1976 D penny even more special. Another exciting area for collectors is era coins and die varieties. The 1976 D Lincoln penny has been found with several minor minting errors that can make it valuable. Look for things like double dies, where parts of the date or lettering appear doubled when you look closely under magnification. There are also off-center strikes, die cracks, and cuds, small raised areas caused by broken dies. Any of these can increase a coin's desirability and price, especially if the error is visually dramatic. Because 1976 was also the year of the United States bicentennial, collectors tend to have a special emotional attachment to coins from that year. Although the penny itself did not receive a bicentennial design like the quarter, half dollar, or dollar did, it's still a piece of American history from that patriotic year. Many collectors specifically seek out 1976 coins from all denominations to complete full bicentennial year sets, and the Lincoln cent is an essential part of that. The top quality 1976 D Lincoln pennies are not only rare, but also have an undeniable charm, a small, copper reminder of a historic moment in American coinage. When one of these coins appears at auction in pristine mint condition, it captures attention immediately. Collectors recognize how few exist at this level, and bidding can escalate quickly. That's how we saw the record-setting sale reaching $7,931, confirming the enduring popularity of the Lincoln cent series. To give you some perspective, even a coin graded just one step lower, say, MS66 red, instead of MS67 plus red, might sell for a fraction of that price. This shows how much of a difference perfection makes in the world of coin collecting. So, what should you do if you find a 1976 D Lincoln penny? First, handle it carefully by the edges to avoid adding fingerprints or scratches. Then, check if it looks uncirculated. If the surfaces are bright and flawless, it might be worth having it evaluated by a professional coin grading service. Even if it's not a record breaker, a high-quality example could still be worth far more than 1 cent. The next thing to consider is whether your penny shows any unique toning, natural colors that develop on copper over time. Some collectors love coins with deep red-orange or iridescent blue-purple hues. These tones, when attractive and natural, can sometimes increase the coin's appeal and market value. The 1976 D Lincoln penny is a great example of how history, craftsmanship, and condition come together to create value. It reminds us that even a coin most people overlook can turn out to be special. Every coin tells a story, and this one tells the story of a time when America celebrated its 200th anniversary, when copper still filled our pockets, and when a penny could become a prized collectible. So, keep an eye on those small details: the mint mark, the luster, the color, and the overall sharpness of the design. That's where the difference lies between a common penny and a valuable one. Collectors across the United States continue to search through rolls of 1976 pennies from banks and old collections, hoping to find a gem that has survived untouched for nearly half a century. And every time one of these top-quality examples crosses the auction block, it proves again that the 1976 D Lincoln penny remains one of the most exciting coins from the 1970s. With a record auction price of $7,931, this small copper coin stands as a testament to the lasting appeal of Lincoln cents, and to the idea that even the coins we use every day can turn into rare and valuable treasures. So remember, the next time you look through your change, don't overlook that 1976 penny with the D mint mark. It might not just be a coin. It could be a piece of American history worth far more than you imagine. Next up, The 1982 Lincoln penny with no mint mark is one of the most fascinating and valuable coins in modern American coinage. A true hidden treasure that could be sitting right in your pocket change. At first glance, it looks like an ordinary penny. But what most people don't realize is that this specific year and type hold rare varieties that can make your coin worth thousands of dollars. So stay with me until the end of this video, because I'll explain everything you need to know about this coin, how to identify its valuable varieties, and why collectors across the United States are paying record prices for it. The year 1982 was one of the most important turning points in the history of the Lincoln cent. For decades, since 1909, the Lincoln penny had been made primarily of 95% copper. But in 1982, the United States Mint made a major decision. They switched the penny's composition from copper to 97.5% zinc, with a thin copper coating. This major change happened because the price of copper metal had risen so much that it actually cost more than 1 cent just to make a penny. However, this switch didn't happen overnight. During the transition, the U.S. Mint produced both copper and zinc pennies in 1982, and several varieties were made, including small date and large date designs, some of which were struck without a mint mark in Philadelphia. That's where things get interesting. The 1982 no mint mark Lincoln penny was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which traditionally did not use a mint mark on its coins. There are a total of 7 major varieties of 1982 pennies, and collectors love searching for all of them. But among those, the 1982 small date copper penny with no mint mark has become one of the most sought-after coins in U.S. numismatic history. Now, here's the fascinating part. The copper pennies weigh 3.11 grams, while the newer zinc ones weigh only 2.5 grams. That small difference in weight makes a huge difference in value. The rarest and most valuable examples are the small date copper versions. These are the ones that have sold for incredible prices at auction. In fact, the highest recorded auction price for a 1982 Lincoln penny with no mint mark reached well over $10,000, depending on the condition, strike quality, and overall preservation of the coin. Imagine finding a penny in your change that could be worth that much. That's what makes this coin so exciting for collectors and treasure hunters alike. When you look closely at the 1982 date, you'll notice that the 2 and 8 can appear differently depending on whether it's a small or large date variety. On the small date, the 2 sits slightly higher and the numbers look more delicate. On the large date, the numbers are thicker and bolder. These small design details can help you identify which variety you have, and possibly determine if you own one of the valuable ones. Because both metal types were used in the same year, a few rare transitional errors occurred. Some coins meant to be struck in zinc were accidentally struck in copper, and vice versa. Those transitional error coins are the ones that fetch astonishing prices at auction, often well over $10,000 when found in mint state condition. Think about it. The 1982 penny marks a turning point between the old, classic American copper coins and the modern, lighter zinc ones. That alone gives it historical importance, but the rarity of certain versions makes it a genuine treasure. Many coin collectors across America actively search through rolls of 1982 pennies, hoping to discover one of these rare pieces of history hiding in plain sight. Every American should take a moment to check their 1982 Lincoln pennies. The easiest way to start is by using a simple digital scale. If your 1982 no mint mark penny weighs around 3.11 grams, it's made of copper, and that's where the big value lies. If it's 2.5 grams, it's zinc, and typically less valuable. But even among the zinc pennies, collectors still look for special die varieties, clean strikes, and well-preserved examples. The highest auction sales for the 1982 no mint mark Lincoln penny have proven that even a 1-cent coin can capture the attention of serious collectors and investors. When an example in top mint state condition hits the auction block, bidding can soar into the 5-figure range. That shows the passion, excitement, and value that still surrounds these small coins decades after they were made. The 1982 Lincoln penny is a reminder of how much American coinage changed over time, from copper to zinc, from heavy to light, and how collectors continue to value the craftsmanship and history behind these tiny pieces of metal. Even today, people across the United States are finding these pennies in old collections, coin rolls, and even pocket change. Some have turned out to be worth thousands of dollars, all because of small design details and historical significance. So, if you find a 1982 penny with no mint mark, don't just toss it aside. Take a closer look. Weigh it carefully, study the date, and see if it might be one of those rare copper small date varieties that can bring you a big reward. With some of these coins selling for over $10,000 at auction, it's absolutely worth checking every penny. This coin tells a story of change, value, and hidden potential, the perfect example of how something as simple as a penny can hold incredible worth. The 1982 Lincoln penny, with no mint mark, continues to capture the imagination of collectors and historians alike, standing as one of the most intriguing coins in modern American history. So next time you come across an old penny from 1982, remember, it might not just be spare change. It could be a piece of history worth thousands of dollars, a treasure that connects you directly to America's rich numismatic past. Keep an eye out, check your change, and you just might discover a valuable 1982 Lincoln penny hiding in plain sight. Thank you all for watching. If you truly enjoyed learning about these rare and valuable coins, make sure to watch my previous video on Washington quarter dollar coins. It's packed with amazing details about some of the most collectible and valuable quarters ever made in the United States. You'll definitely want to see which ones could be worth a fortune today. If you're passionate about U.S. coins, history, and hidden treasures, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and stay connected for more videos just like this one. I share professional insights and fascinating facts about American coins that every collector and coin enthusiast will love. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and leave a comment below telling me what coin you'd like to see covered next. Your comments, likes, and shares really help the channel grow and allow me to keep bringing you more high-quality videos about valuable U.S. coins. So go check out that Washington quarter dollar video next. You'll be surprised how much those coins can be worth. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.